I chose Wix to create my e-portfolio. I just found it easy to work with, really manageable, and had some great templates that you could work from that sort of tied in with my metaphor. This is my splash page, my home page, and the metaphor that I chose was a knowledge construction. I based the whole creation of this e-portfolio on the premise of building a house, and I'll get into that metaphor in a minute, but first I'll start with my audience, obviously MET colleagues, you watching this video, Professor Fang, potential employers, and myself for reflection and recapitalization of the knowledge. The objectives of this e-portfolio were to summarize and demonstrate my learning and growth, relive and reflect the lessons and connections that I made in the MET program, and develop a program-wide understanding of the knowledge. Now this metaphor, I related it to building a house because it was something I'm familiar with. Building a house has multiple stages, and each of those stages is dependent on the previous stage in order for it to be successful, much like the MET program. I felt that the foundation would be the stage that came first, obviously, and involved core knowledge. The framing stage was a stage that formed my scope of practice. Plumbing and electrical is a third stage of building a house, and it puts theory into practice. And finally, the driveways, walkways, and doors, those build connections with others. I'm just going to quickly take you through each of the stages. Now, with this website, at the bottom of every page, you'll see a little icon like this to navigate. You can use the menu at the top, but it's a little more difficult because Wix didn't allow all the pages to be shown up there. So the foundation stage, it's vital for the stability of the rest of the building. Stones are laid to support the weight and shape of all the future development. And this stage represents the beginning of my journey, where the goals were formed, timelines and plans were made. All of these things were done both in the MET and in the building, in actually building a construction. The courses that I chose to represent this were the ETech 500 and ETech 511. So I'll have a quick look at ETech 500 here. This was the first course I took, and I felt that ETech 500 was a huge support to the whole entire MET program, just as the foundation is to a house. A lot of strong research theories put into place here, and it promoted a sense of inquiry and wonder when researching, which proved critical when completing the proposals. As you're working through the video or my e-portfolio, you'll see the inspections. The inspections are just like a home inspection. You have an inspector come in and inspect whether the progress is being made, if you're meeting code. With this, each portfolio, each of these inspections are an artifact. So you'll see most courses have between 1 and 3 artifacts. This course has 2, and they have a little door with a check mark beside them. For this course, I chose the article critique and the final research proposal. On to ETech 511. ETech 511 was another foundational course, as it provided us a lot of scholarly freedom, and I felt that it helped build my research skills in that, and my way of expressing the knowledge. For example, here with the Weebly design, this was the first website I built, and the scholarly essay, this is the first scholarly essay that I wrote with my own research and on a topic of my choice. So continue on to framing. The framing stage of a construction involves scaffolding the learning, which is, funnily enough, both an educational term and a construction term. Using in the construction world, it involves linking strong beams to connection points to achieve like a structural shell that contains and forms your building. I use the metaphor of a knowledge construction, where these framing courses were key in framing my scope of practice. So 2 courses again in this stage, 510 and 521, and 4 inspections done during this stage. 510 was the design of technology supported learning environments, and this Wikistop Motion on tech addiction was the very first video that I created, and it was the first time I'd expressed my knowledge in a way other than writing a scholarly paper in this program. So that was quite valuable. The mass progressive formative assessment was a one of the first collaborative projects that I completed, which was a framing portion of the course too. Working with others is a huge portion, which I'll get to later. But this also was one of the first projects that I was able to apply directly to the classroom. So that framed my knowledge and sort of made the MET seem real. The next course was eTech 521, which was a neat course on Indigeneity, technology, and education. Involved looking at what technology is and how it relates to who we are. Up until this point, I always assumed technology was basically the same for everyone, and everyone perceived it the same way, and thus it could be implemented in every classroom the same way. This course challenged that notion and involved me researching how the emotional side of our humanity could be integrated into the technological side. And also this web blog that I completed required that I keep track of all the valuable resourceful web pages and resources I encountered. It sort of was the first e-portfolio I completed in the program, and that it helped me keep track of the meaningful learning experiences that I had. On to plumbing and electrical. This is the stage in the building process that makes your structure functional, comfortable, and it relies both on a solid frame and a solid foundation. This part of the program is where I feel like I saw the light, both literally and figuratively, and I have 3 courses in here, 512, 520, and 540, along with 6 inspections. First course, 512, suggests that the applications of learning theory. Obviously, applications is at the root there, and I feel that's a key part of this course. It's that it had application, hence why it's in the plumbing and electrical stage. The lesson plan and the lesson plan critique was a 2-part project where I designed a lesson plan using the pedagogical practices learned in the course, implemented it, and then as the course progressed, made revisions to it based on what I've learned, and then I re-implemented it again at the end of the term, which was hugely valuable and made the MET course seem real and my knowledge construction seem like it was comfortable. The next stage, eTech 520, was a course where I developed a vision for e-learning. Again, this was a course that I struggled with right off the bat, and quite often during the construction process there can be struggles during the electrical and plumbing stage due to the complexity. This developed the vision for e-learning. I'm not sure at this point I was quite ready to develop a vision, but this course sort of forced me to do that, and I came up with a vision of developing an e-school for at-risk students to help them with the risks of dropping out by providing less demanding curriculum via e-learning at home. And then a business plan, which I looked at implementing a MOOC, massive open online course in Western China, where there's a huge demand for modernizing the schools, but a lack of infrastructure, required that I put together a fairly rigorous business plan with statistics from the Chinese government, which were not easy to come by. So this sort of symbolized the struggle that can often happen with construction and during the plumbing and electrical stage. Next, I had eTech 540, which was the changing space of reading and writing. I have 3. First of all, I found this course extremely valuable. I completed 3 really meaningful artifacts during this course, all of which were done either via video or infographic. I felt that this program really altered my view on assessment, which was a practical application, and also taught me the value of just stepping back and allowing students to interpret things on their own, sort of get off the podium a bit as a teacher and adjust my teaching style, because the historical aspect of this course forced us to have a look at how schools were in ancient times, and often you looked at that when you started looking at that, you realized a lot of teaching styles hadn't changed a whole lot in the last 50 or 60 years. So this was a valuable course for my own teaching profession, and it made me understand how much information could be conveyed with very few words. If you look at this infographic here on the left, the visual literacy infographic, an entire essay's worth of information has been condensed into about 100 words and uses images for the rest of the message conveying. Finally, to Doors, Walks, and Drives. Doors, Walks, and Drives link your home to others, and being able to do this makes it possible for the outside world to come in and you to exit into the outside world, establishing connection, really. Now, courses that promoted connection were eTech 522, 565, and 590, and there are obviously inspections conducting during this stage as well, the venture pitch, my digital story, and this e-portfolio. So I head to eTech 522. eTech 522 required quite a bit of collaboration to build the venture pitch. Here we have the $1 million question where myself and 6 other students worked to put together a venture pitch. And this was done with students in Asia and all across Canada. Obviously, a lot of collaboration skills were put to the test here with time zones and whatnot. A massive project, a massive undertaking where we explored makerspaces, put together a business proposal, and did a community analysis where we selected a community for a makerspace. Next we have 565. 565 was a course where we developed a rubric collaboratively to analyze learning management systems. This collaborative effort was extremely valuable because we came up with a rubric for analyzing and evaluating learning management systems, and then put together later, as you can see here, a proposal to an educational decision maker suggesting a certain LMS, which I thought was quite valuable, but again required a ton of collaboration, hence why it's in the Drives, Walks, and Doors section of my ePortfolio. And finally, eTech 590. This project didn't require, it was an independent endeavor, but the entire shaping and revisional process of it required my knowledge construction neighbors, aka the other people in this class, to give feedback. The feedback process was quite valuable in this course, especially about the peer review table that Professor Feng used. Sort of created a lot of accountability in the program for feedback, and I found that extremely valuable and promoted collaboration. Next, I have the assessment checklist, which is just a checklist of things that I hope this ePortfolio was to include as per my proposal. And finally, my references. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or use the Talk to Me portion here at the bottom of my ePortfolio. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.